LSU and Clemson, the battle for who are the real Tigers and the battle for where is the real Death Valley. I am laying it with Clemson. Now, this is one of the situations where I'm going to tell you in pocket, yes, I played a better number. I played -3 in the summer because when this line came out, Jared, I have tickets on Clemson to win the ACC, Clemson to win the national championship, and Cade Klubnik to win the Heisman Trophy. When I
Wow.
say I'm all in on Clemson, I am
You
all
really are.
in on Clemson. This team returns the most production in the country, right? They are loaded at wide receiver for one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And Dabo finally goes into the transfer portal and brings in some players. He brought in the kid from SEMO, Southeast Missouri State, Tristan Smith, 6'5", 205-pound, high leaping red zone target. Caught 76 passes and 6 touchdowns last year at SEMO. They got 4 returning offensive linemen for a quarterback in year 3 in this offense. They bolstered up the defense, bringing in Penn State defensive coordinator Tom Allen, who you obviously are very familiar with,
Yeah.
Jared. And that defense is an NFL defense. And also, speaking of the transfer portal, they bring in Will Helt from Purdue to pair up now with TJ Parker. These are probably 2 of the best pass rushers in the country. To me, this is with a quarterback that in LSU, Garrett Nussmeier is dealing with a little bit of a knee issue. I know Brian Kelly wanted to sweep that under the rug and say this is a non-factor, but we did see the spread go from 3 to 4.5 when that injury came out a month ago. And then it got pushed back down to 4 when Brian Kelly was like, this is nothing, like he's fine. Like I would rank it a 2 on the scale if you were asking me to rank it on 1 to 10 or whatever. But now we're seeing money now come in on Clemson, push it back up to 4.5, which is where it
Yeah.
is now at circa. Clemson's the right side of this game. And then there's just the LSU factor. They haven't won a season opening game since 2019. And to me, I'm going with the better team, the better coach, the home team, the environment where Dabo came out to the media and said, let's make sure we got a stadium full of orange. He's like, I love the purple, but let's all wear orange. Let's show up in that orange so they don't mistake it for anybody else because LSU is obviously purple also. I think Clemson rolls here. I had Brent McMurphy, the great Brent McMurphy, on my VSiN show a couple of weeks ago, or last week, a couple of weeks ago. My days run into each other. It's just crazy. So it was last week, and I told him about my Clemson tickets. And I told him, I said, currently right now, Clemson's -200 to make the college football playoff. And his response, he goes, add another 0 to that.
Wow.
Like he thinks it should be -2,000 that Clemson makes it to the college football playoff.
Wow.
And I would agree. There's nobody else in this ACC that's winning this conference over Clemson. And then they're probably going to have one of these first 4 byes. I'm telling you, this team is great. And you're going to see it here on Saturday when they're going to demolish LSU.
I'm excited for Clemson this year. There's no doubt. I think the market is getting a little stretched on them at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bull case for LSU is their defense will not be a bottom feeder unit. Like up front defensively, they've got some dudes. They lost their 2 starting ends, but they really reloaded a lot. Pyburn from Florida, Peyton from Florida State. I mean, those are top transfers at their positions. And then they got Jamari Butler from Nebraska, who was all Big Ten honorable mention last year, and then a couple of returnees at tackles. So there's a chance that this defensive line is very good for LSU, and they've been really bad at this position for a long time. In fact, they've had 8 different coaches, 8 different defensive line coaches since 2020. This year they brought in, you might remember this name, Kyle Williams, veteran tackle, played in the NFL, used to play at LSU. Obviously great football perspective, but not a lot of coaching experience. So a little bit of a unknown there. A lot of talent on that LSU defense, but not a lot of great leadership. And I think that's where things can get away from you. But I'm intrigued. If this thing keeps moving towards Clemson, I think there's going to come a point where someone's going to buy LSU. I think Nussmeier is really good. I think the receivers for LSU are going to be solid this year. Chris Hilton comes back. He missed all of last year with an injury. They got the transfer from Oklahoma, who missed all of last year, and he had that one really good year at Liberty where he averaged like 20 yards per catch, and then they got a kid from Kentucky who's like the all-time SEC leader in return touchdowns. So I think LSU has the potential to be very dangerous. But you mentioned it, coaching. Brian Kelly sucks in these games. They're kind of scattered in those areas. So it's tough to trust them on the road in a big spot. I think Clemson wins, but I do think at some point the number will get stretched and you'll see some LSU money.